To see somebody whenever they are speaking at their best friend's wedding, or whenever they are delivering the eulogy of.
Depending on the individual, God will put them through certain sufferings. He'll put us through long anxiety and waiting if we're in need of patience. He'll put us through physical impairments if we're in need of perseverance or endurance. These characteristics are only built by suffering and nothing else. Eternal paradise is a grand reward for a mere lifetime of suffering. Thank you.
Delivering the eulogy of their mom or their dad, or they're in a fight with their spouse, and they find within themselves some of those words, some of those ideas, some of the presence of God in all of its truth and beauty that maybe came in the form of a poem that they memorized, or they saw through a discussion that they had with their peers, that those things are stamped within them so deeply so that whenever they're most needed, the education that they have received can continue to bear fruit in their lives.
I just knew there was so much more children could be learning intellectually, socially, spiritually, experiencing culturally. Coming across the classical Christian model was like stepping into the wardrobe and the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and this whole other world of what could be in learning.
I came to an information meeting about Trinity, and I heard, it was really the first time that I heard about classical education and what that was. Sarah came with me. She was my fiance at the time. And both of us left that information meeting going, I wish I had learned that way. It sounded both fun, but full of depth.
One thing that my husband and I recognized, we knew that the world would get at our children as they became adults. And so to have them in that directed course of Trinity, both educationally and culturally and spiritually, was important to us in terms of giving them the chance to find out who they are and who they're not.
When we first were introduced to Trinity, I think everybody is coming in, well, what is classical education? Because it's culturally abnormal. It's not something that you see everywhere. Once I understood that all of the great philosophers, all of the founding fathers of our country actually had learned in this classical tradition, in this classical model, it had nothing to do with whatever was culturally relevant at the time. It had to do with, again, developing a critical thinking set.
It seems very paradoxical to say we're going to raise leaders by reading old books and talking about them. But there's a lot of ways in which I think that that's such a wonderful way to do it.
Our sentence yesterday was pretty complicated. We're starting to get objects and preposition, direct objects, adjective.
When we're doing what we should in the classroom, students sense that they're in contact with something that's real, that they're not just performing an academic exercise, but the discussions that we have, the books that we read, the things that we write, they're challenging and they're hard, not because we want to show off how rigorous an education we can possibly offer, but because those are the ways that we train students with the ability to get in touch with what's real.
The academics at Trinity are definitely rigorous, and that's what they promote in their mission statement, that it's a challenging education.
There's a lot that they're having us do, but it's all really good things. What we learn, if you learn it well and work hard at it, it's not going to return void.
Just having someone expect like more than what you're capable of allows you to become capable of it because they're expecting it from you. Now we're at the part of life where it's all on me to expect that out of myself.
Education is like one of the most important pieces of your life. Those small details, I think, trickled into me having an appreciation for small joys and little ways that I see God in my day.
One of the most impactful teachers I had was my math teacher, Miss Davidson, and she was the first person to, I think, show me where I had maybe missed a key piece of information. It was discussing the logic behind what was happening with math. Without her, I probably would not have been able to get into the next accelerated math program, and then I went on to engineering school. It gave me the foundational work to be successful in college.
The critical thinking, the Socratic style of dialogue, that to me is, you will carry that forever. I don't remember how, if you solve for X for algebra, I don't even remember how to do that. But in everything I do, whether it's as a mom with my daughter, whether it's thinking through, I think in the world today, people need to be more critical thinkers, I think, than ever before, to be able to understand and consume all this information that's being presented to them and think for themselves.
If you've never had to have a conversation about things that matter with people who are different from you in high school, it's going to kind of blow your mind. And it's maybe easy to be seduced by some of those differences, to disconnect your brain from seeking what's true because you're overwhelmed by the very real sympathy that you have from hearing someone else's beliefs or hearing why they do something that's very different from you. But if you get into the practice, get into the habit of pursuing a truth together with people who are other than yourself, they're not just armored to withstand some obvious deceptions and temptations, but they have the opportunity to really lead their peers in how to do that in a way that is winning, in a way that is sincere, and in a way that seeks to honor God and seek what's true.
I didn't take it seriously until senior year of high school. That's when I finally started asking, why am I actually doing this? I was like, wow, the things that we're reading are profound.
Whenever our sophomores are reading Boethius and they see someone who at one point was one of the most influential figures, the way that he found himself brought down on false charges, the way that everyone that he thought were his friends and supporters and allies turned against him and ignored him, look back at all of his life and wonder, was this worth it? Is there any point in pursuing virtue if this is the end that you come to? Falsely accused, in exile, waiting for some bad people to kill you just because they can. They are trying to figure out who they are, what difference they're going to make in the world, and to be able to talk about that together and to confront it and to question, is this true? Is this real? How do I see myself in this life?
A lot of your academic journey relies on you making effort to go forward yourself, not just doing the assignments. They taught me that education is a lifelong journey and not a simple task, but something more about our character.
If you can communicate really well, no matter what you're going to do in life, career-wise, that is a very foundational skill to success.
Being able to understand the different ways to persuade people has been really important as I went into college, and mostly though as I go into the professional working field. Every day we have discussions on what is the best way to go do something. What is the right answer for us to go, spend resources on? Knowing how to persuade people, which is what you get taught in the Rhetoric school, that helps you kind of get a level up on people in the workplace, because you can kind of dissect their different arguments and you can make you can craft a better argument.
The ability to answer and think on the fly, create these complex ideas, is something that makes you stand out against the rest. Overall, that's the value of the education itself and this place, is the ability to think and speak eloquently.
They've taught him to be able to share his voice in a way that's respectful. Oftentimes these families see that and they want to know more. That is the best marketing that Trinity could ever have, is put a well-spoken kid in front of a grown adult and they realize the fruits of the labors.
Rule number 1, obey God, parents, and teachers. Quick idea, how do I obey God today? Avery.
Was there ever a time when your work was really hard and you couldn't get through it?
There was never a time that I couldn't get through it, because my teachers always helped me out. So, when you get older, who are you going to go ask for help?
Our teachers.
Your teachers, because they're like your best friends. They're going to help you out, and they're going to make sure that you do great things.
Being a teacher at Trinity is so fun. I love that I get to focus on the character formation of the students more than anything. The academics are so strong and we're pushing the kids to do really big things, but at the same time, who they are as people, even when they're 5 years old, is super important and the foundation of everything that they're going to do as they grow up. You see so many kids come in and it's their first time in school, their first time being away from their parents, so they really have no idea how to interact with other kids, and being able to teach them how to be a friend to somebody or teach them how to love one another is really special. Some of the learning goals I have for them is that they should be able to read small sentences. They are learning to add and subtract. They're learning to sequence a story, so tell me the beginning, the middle, and the end of a story.
What's true is true, and the fact that we can encounter it in a classroom through a book doesn't mean we're looking at something different than what a student is thinking about at 1 o'clock in the morning as they're gazing up at the stars, talking with their best friend about the things that really trouble them and concern them. That substance that maybe wasn't there before, that they hadn't at least been able to perceive before, that we're not disconnected from whatever reality that person whose words have stood the test of time because they've been seeking what's real, we can pursue that same reality, that same truth together.
One area where I can see progression in a kind of tangible way is in student writing, and I have the privilege to teach that. And writing is something that no one is born knowing how to do. Why is it worth doing something that's difficult? Why is it worth deciphering some book or some text that's inherently difficult? Well, there's not a career that I can think of, really, where you're not handed things that are difficult in and of themselves and you have to sort through them, and not getting them at first is common. And so if we can kind of build those habits in now to where I don't know is only a starting point, needs to be I don't know and.
Watching her teachers commit to her specifically, working with her, encouraging her, giving her feedback, saying, Hallie, you're totally capable of doing this, let's sit down and doing it, and then celebrating wins with them. The encouragement that they receive and the acknowledgement from the people around them that have been working with them is just so awesome, and it really spurs them on to be like, oh, I can do this. I will go on to the next thing. You can do hard things. You can struggle and you can persevere. Trinity has brought a community around our girls to help them realize that and see that.
Character progression is something that we really focus on a lot. We're really intentional about not judging somebody based on who they are at 13 years of age. 7th through 12th grade are incredibly formative years where sometimes the 12th grader is unrecognizable based on who they were in the 7th grade. And trusting in the good that we're providing as being ultimately formative, to where if you buy in, there's no option other than to be changed by it. The fact that that's built into our curriculum reflects the level of importance that we're giving it.
The greatest joy, which is repeated pretty much every year for us, is seeing the students grow during the upper school. The 6 years of growth is incredible.
I think there's so many different things that I haven't done yet, but then there's things that I have done and I'm still learning and perfecting and getting better at. My community and my teachers and my family and my friends all are able to reinforce that in my life. They know me personally as a student, but as a growing human being, and they're not just gonna give me facts to learn, but they're gonna help me grow as a student and as a person in Christ. And all the teachers and staff here have the same purpose to help us in that. They all have a sort of like grace when they're teaching us. They know that it's Christ in them that allows them to teach, and what they're teaching is all for Him. Anytime I have an interview with someone, they're saying, what type of person are you looking for? Which I think is a great question. It's the people. It's what we said before, where would I put my own children with this person? Would I trust them? Our students, when they come home, they're going to talk about certain things, but what they will definitely talk about is their teacher. That shapes them. And so I think when we're looking for people, are they devoted to Christ? Do they love learning? Do they realize that they haven't arrived yet either? Apostle Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ. Follow me as I learn. Follow me as I have to love one another, and what does that look like? Follow me as I am devoted to my family. Follow me as I'm devoted to my church. Follow me in all of these things. We could have the best curriculum in the world, but if you don't have the right people, it's worthless. What I'm grateful for our school, what I'm grateful for even for my own family as a dad, is that there are people who, thankfully, are saying the same kinds of things that
I'm saying to my children. That's the other thing that I hope parents are looking for, is a match to what they're doing at home. More a match of what they believe in their home, what they believe at their church.
The partnership is the most important thing about what we do here at Trinity. We talk about how it is a partnership with them just as much as it is with us. While we spend so much time with them throughout the day, if what we're teaching at school, whether it's the character piece, whether it's the academics, if it's not being reinforced at home, then it's really for nothing. So coming alongside parents is super critical for someone to succeed at Trinity.
The teachers came alongside of us in a way of partnership that I didn't expect. I did not expect that the teachers would care so much, number one, and then number two, allow us to have that much interaction and engagement with them. The teachers really wanted to meet us as parents and Abigail as a student to say, how can they be helpful? And some of the emails and conversations were lengthy, so it showed a lot of care for them to take the time and effort to write to me and try to help mentor Abigail in the ways of her little 3rd and 4th, 5th grade self that she needed. The partnership is real in that way.
I was really drawn to the classical Christian model. The way that Libertas is organized is we have 2 tracks. Track 1 means for students who are officially enrolling in our school, we become the school of record. And because Trinity is WASC accredited, CIF is also governed by Trinity. So that's why students need to be enrolled in track 1 to play the sports. Track 2 families may be those families in the homeschool community. They would like to participate in some things that are available, primarily classes that they have available here. Because it's Christ-centered and because it follows the model that Trinity models and requires of all of their programs, my daughter was immersed in a wonderful Christian community whose primary focus was to teach and train and make disciples of Jesus Christ. When they say partnership, they really do mean that, and we're so grateful for that. To feel that they are partnering with us, it truly is a blessing.
So obviously today, in our conversation, the common thread is something that is clearly woven into the very fabric of school life here at Trinity. And as you've heard mentioned, that's our Imago Dei school for special education, and in the same vein, the academic support that we provide for our students as well.
More than chance, more than fate, more than words on a page, more than wild, more than free, more than tales of destiny.
Everything about the school was so different from what our son, Bo, was experiencing in the public school in special education. I approached Mrs. Caddo and asked her if she would consider starting a special education school, and she said yes, right away. 2011, the Lord said yes, and he brought a little cluster of students.
One of Darby's goals over the years that I think about maybe the most often is his conversational goals, how he interacts with the world. Part of his goals has always been the back and forth. How much can he engage with somebody else and continue on an appropriate conversation with his peers? And we've seen a lot of growth with that. Just the other day, after I said hi to him, he said hi back, and then I asked him how his day was at school, and then he said, how was your day at work? And I was like, oh, well, thank you, Darby. Wow. I was so taken aback. It was great. Thanks for asking, bud. I really appreciate it. I was just really impressed by that.
Academics are a really important aspect of Imago Dei. They just feel like kids that are important to the school. I think that transcends the academics. If I were telling someone why they should consider an Imago Dei education, I would say because of the fullness of the education and the richness of the education, not just the academic part, but who their student is when they're done because of the relationships they've built along the way. I hope that as our students are learning, growing, and maturing alongside their Imago Dei peers, that it's just seamless for them to know people with disabilities, that's very normalized, that our students see beyond any differences. God has created them with a plan and a purpose, He's created our students in Imago Dei with a plan and a purpose. I hope that that is just normalized for all of our Trinity community. When people look at Imago Dei, I hope they see the heart of Trinity expressed in the education that we are able to provide for students with disabilities and students without disabilities. And I can't wait to see how Imago Dei will grow in our next 25 years.
Stillness in the open, in the in-between, it's here, we finally know it.
There was a young man who was a part of our supplemental services program the entire time he was here, and had come to us really struggling with reading. When he did his senior thesis, I don't think there was a dry eye in the place. He didn't think he could. And you see that a lot. You know, students think, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Well, let's try. Do it afraid, try. And people come around them. And for that senior, for whoever impacted him when he came, they played a part in that.
In classrooms, we should implement a teaching approach that emphasizes imagination, exploration, and love for our Creator.
Our senior thesis program that we do here, the way that we frame it is students are only allowed to pursue topics that Christians can reasonably disagree about. They have to be able to argue for something and accept that they could be wrong about it. I think that's a really important aspect to the training and discipleship that they get here, so that they can learn to strive for excellence, but with that humility and knowing that they're trying to do it in love.
For me as a father, watching Abigail during her senior thesis, I've said this before to many people, was one of the most proud moments I've had as a dad.
What was amazing for my daughter is that Trinity offered a structure. She followed through with the structure. She did it afraid. You would ask yourself, well, how are they going to be able to do? And they all did it. I mean, it was amazing.
The pillar of our school about courage that hits me, that I've had so many students throughout the time they've been here in Trinity for years, how they have stepped out into things that they probably never would do themselves had they not hopefully a good supporting environment. Seeing lives change. The first time they've gone to speak to first grade and third grade, and they would just be so frightened. You see them, and by the time you see lives actually transform, as you see their journey and everything.
The feeling you have watching them present something like that is just indescribable. You feel so much pride for them and what they've done, and seeing them doing it afraid and them being so nervous, but just feeling God's peace and feeling the love, hopefully, that I've shown them throughout the year, that they can feel confident enough to do it. It's so special to watch them just overcome fears and present it so well.
They are getting up probably a little bit scared, and this just becomes normal to them. And then ultimately all that leads to, when you see a senior thesis presentation, that's not the first time they're on stage presenting something. I think sometimes people look at 18-year-olds and they go, how can they do that? Well, it's because they've been trained. They get up in front of people and they say something that's worth saying.
And the emphasis on memorization at such a young age, our kids' abilities to memorize hard things, to write them and memorize them, and then present them in front of an audience with so much confidence, just speaks to the system that they have here, and that the output is so consistent.
In kindergarten, when Zoe had to stand up and do her really quick presentation, and there were 2 specific students in her class that are still here at Trinity, and neither one of them could get through the presentation without completely falling apart. And now as they're in 8th grade and watching them do presentations, 0 issues, full confidence, it's just astounding to see what perseverance can do.
I really do believe for our seniors, when they leave us, and it does take the whole time when we say that, they have an appreciation
for what they have received in this gift of learning.
Something I realized was that all of the academic training that I had done my entire life didn't go to waste. Even though I didn't see the value in it and I wasn't super interested in it, there's a purpose to everything they're doing here, and it really helped me.
At this point, to see what the Lord has allowed in children's learning, in families, and their understanding of what this kind of education can do and bring in its fruit has been so gracious of Jesus.
How can I be like you one day?
How can you be like me? The education will form you to think like I do, and you'll be able to speak, you'll be able to write, and therefore when we go out into the world and when you grow up, you can stand for what you believe and know why you believe it. You're already on the path to greatness. You're already on the path through Trinity education.
The teachers really spend the time to develop the students and their gifts. And for us, we're thrilled to have children that are going to go out into the world and be able to think and not be told what to think.
Yes, they're going to be trained in their minds. There's no doubt about that. They're going to be stretched, they're going to be challenged. But this type of education means nothing if it doesn't shape and grab their hearts as well. There is always going to be that moral aspect of who they are. When I look at our graduates, if those three things are in place, if they love Christ, if they love one another, if they love learning, they're going to be fine.
These kids are being prepared for the future. They can go out and conquer the world if they want. They're given an opportunity to do amazing things, and they're given a foundation that they're not going to get anywhere else.
People will refer to Noah and they attribute a lot of his strong attributes, his ability to speak well, to carry on a full conversation with grown adults, where many kids his age just can't do that or won't do that. And they really recognize that Trinity played a major role in his ability to be such a strong individual and be able to carry on an intelligent conversation. As a working mom, it's really tough to send your kids away every single day. And so when you send them to school, a place where they spend the majority of their time away from family, you have to be certain that it's in a place that you know they're going to be loved and cared for. There's not a single person on this campus that would not do anything and everything that they needed to do to care for one another. You know, it's a choice to bring them here. And no matter how difficult that choice may be, sometimes it's all worth it because of the people they're surrounded by.
We believe that this investment into their education at such a young age is the catalyst for the rest of their life. I have no doubt that our three girls will leave our home in just a few years and be fully equipped to adapt and learn to whatever environment God places them in next. Kids are getting accepted to incredible schools. The kids are going out with their AA already, completed and going on to doing big and great things, and that they're well prepared to go into the world and to represent God and have the courage to stand faithfully for the truths that have been reinforced here.
They're leaders. They know how to think for themselves, how to reason and figure out what they really believe and explain it, right? To us is probably the biggest thing that attracted us to this school. Young people that can go into the world and be leaders, right? That's what this world is starving for, right?
The opportunities are limitless for these students. And the level of confidence too, you'll see to every kid that graduates from this school, they're always the hardest worker, they're always the most structured, they're always the most disciplined.
As a mom myself now, I think about it differently. I think about what I can give to her and what the choices that I make, how that affects her. We've gone through it all. James has been a founding family member, been here since the very beginning, me from 6th grade. And for us to have gone through it all with even the trials and errors of being a first graduating class, and to come out and realize that was worth everything, and to feel like that impacted our lives in a positive way. And then to think, okay, I can do anything for my daughter and I want her to come here. I think that alone speaks volumes.
And that's not something that I know that I'll be able to see, all of the time. And if it happens, it's going to be decades before the truth of that comes out. That those things which have gotten inside of you belong there, because when you most need them, or whenever you most don't want to believe that you need them, you hear those voices, you hear those words, you hear those truths, you hear those questions, you hear those lovely lines popping up, helping guide your way wherever it is that you might be in that season of life.